Right now, we have our special guest. You might know him from Infowars. He's now independent. His name is Chase Geiser, and he looks like he joined the Twitter about the same time I did. Chase, welcome to Grand Theft World. This is your first appearance. How you doing, bro?
It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
Oh, you sound impeccable. Do you have
Good.
anything between you? Do you have something special that makes your voice
There's
sound so
nothing there's
powerful?
nothing that comes between us, Richard.
That's just what he brings. And you live near Scott?
Yeah, Scott and I see each other several times a week. He's an awesome producer, awesome videographer, awesome studio tech.
He's getting awesomer by the day. He loves to learn new things. The thing you'd have to watch out with Scott is he might get bored because he learns new things all the time. You have to keep him busy over there. But I'm sure you guys have enough things that go kaflooey to keep his asymmetrical problem-solving mind like engaged. And
He told me you were a genius, Richard.
that's a dirty rumor. I would dismiss it as arbitrary. I don't know.
He said you know everything that ever happened in the history of everything.
Pretty
I've been
much.
around a long time. That's all. I'm just old. I think that's how that goes.
Well, I'm sure we'll get
But
to the blueprint at some point, but yes, it'll unfold
yeah,
perfectly
oh.
here. So yeah. But yeah.
All right. So once upon a time, Chase, you didn't work at Infowars. You were just probably someone. Did you listen to like Infowars back in the day? What was your wake up process? I would guess probably 20 years ago at this point.
Well, 20
Longer
years
than
ago
that?
I was
Okay.
15.
All right.
And I
Right
was a
on.
dumbass just like every other 15-year-old. But I started a social media advertising business in 2016, and that's what I did up until January 6th of 2021. And after January 6th happened, I was always a right-wing kind of Ayn Rand, laissez-faire capitalist, Trump supporting guy. But after January 6th happened, I was distraught with how they were framing it as an insurrection. It was obviously bullshit. There were obviously feds involved. And so I realized that my vote wasn't enough and I wanted a voice. And so I decided to fire all of my clients from my social media advertising business, despite the fact that I was making good money, and focus everything that I learned about digital marketing into building a personal brand and a podcast. So in 2021, I launched a podcast called One American Podcast, and I just began obsessively trying to grow my Twitter audience and got to the point where I was able to have guests like Roger Stone and Steve Bannon and Gavin McInnes on my podcast. And I started guest hosting for Infowars because they happened to be about 17 minutes down the road from where I lived. And eventually, Infowars hired me, and I worked there up through the election until September of last year. And now I'm doing normal marketing work again here in Nashville, Tennessee, trying to figure out what I'm going to do as the next step from my personal content.
Well, that's like a wonderful, it's the opposite of a bifurcation. It's like the union of like your normie world job. And at some point you stumbled over some truthy type stuff and then you started hosting a platform because you could and you knew how, or
Yep.
you taught yourself how. We'll find out. And then you got noticed in a good
Yep.
way. It's the good kind of noticing. And someone pervade your talent on a much wider platform. And that enabled you to kind of jumpstart into like, obviously you moved because you don't live in Texas anymore and you've got like an office space endeavor that doesn't have all the same Mike Judge foibles, but it seems to be very productive from what I've heard and seen.
Yep.
Because now that I get like, oh, there's studios and I can pick up like, oh, these people record in the same studio, just at different times, right? And
Yep.
I think that's a brilliant stroke of entrepreneurism to bring that solution to the public at this time in history because it's important. But, how did you get
Thank you.
started, like, researching, or did you listen to Infowars before that you ever got guest hosted, or, like, what
So
was
the
your,
first
like,
time,
train of
yeah.
evolution?
The first time I ever saw Alex Jones in a meaningful way, I stumbled across the Bohemian Grove documentary when I was a student in Nashville. I was just a college student working a student job behind a desk. And so there wasn't really much for me to do. I was getting paid $7.25 an hour to basically check people in and out of a recording studio that my university here in Nashville owned. And the algorithm on YouTube in 2012 was much more honest than it is today. So it
Yeah.
suggested that I watched Bohemian Grove, and I watched it. And I was like, holy shit, it's real. Then I disregarded Alex Jones, not intentionally, just, got distracted with life and college and stuff like that until maybe I saw a couple episodes of him appearing on Joe Rogan, and I appreciated that, but it was in a normie kind of way, kind of a neoconservative way. I was basically a Ted Cruz Republican, 8 years ago until I, started staring into the abyss. And then after January 6th happened, that's when I started really watching Infowars because I would turn on Fox to try to like get the information that I wanted to get, and they were covering, dumbass shit. I don't know if I can swear on your show. Sorry if
No,
I'm
you can say
edit.
anything you want.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And so I'd be like, well, fucking Fox isn't going to say anything. I know sure as hell CNN isn't going to say anything. MSNBC is not going to say anything. So let's see what Infowars had to say. So I found some obscure app on my Roku TV that had band.video rolling 24/7. And I just watched it and I watched it. And then as I was building my podcast, I was like, all right, I'm not going to be able to get Alex to come on my podcast because he's too big for my britches. But maybe I can reach out to Harrison Smith, who hosts the morning show. And Harrison's like, hell yeah, I'll come on. And then maybe I can reach out to Owen Schroyer. And Owen's like, sure, whatever. And so that's how I developed a friendship with Harrison Smith. He came on my show. I was a guest on his show. And then his wife had a baby and he took 2 weeks off and he asked me to fill in for him since I was right down the road. And it's better to have an in-person host than a remote Zoom host. And so I would come in every day. And after doing his job for 2 weeks, I just said, why don't you guys fucking hire me? And they did. They hired me for a measly sum of $40,000 a year. And I quit. And I was making between $200,000 and $300,000 for my social media advertising business, but I hated it. And I like sacrificed all that shit, went into a bunch of debt. And eventually I was able to get my income up at Infowars because I did a lot more than I was required to do when I first started working there. But it was a struggle for a couple of years. I mean, I really did burn the ships and sacrifice everything to be part of the information war. And I'm so glad that I did. Alex Jones, they say never meet your hero, but I'm sure as hell glad that I met mine because Alex Jones is an American hero.
Yeah, you probably are somewhat similar to me in the aspect of like when I met Alex, I already knew like he's a human being with human flaws and he's not perfect. He's not meant to be idolized. And I
Look,
don't think he
Richard, you're a
tries
really
to,
smart guy, but I've
I
been
don't
doing
think
this
he
30
tries,
years.
I don't think he tries to hide. Like, um, he was interviewing me for Obama Deception too, right? And he had just gotten back from Bilderberg, and he legit. I'm not making this up. I'm not saying it to disparage him. I didn't take it in a rude way at all. He was falling asleep. He'd ask me a question. I would start to answer, and he would like start to fall asleep. And I was like, this guy does not have to be here right now. He could be at home sleeping, but instead he's here at the office. He's got what's his name just went to McDonald's and got him like some super pack of food, which probably also was putting him to sleep.
It would
And
be Pete
he was
Terry's, by the
grinding.
way. It would be Pete Terry's, definitely not McDonald's. Pete Terry's.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And he was grinding, is my point,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yes.
like here's a legit human being with foibles and flaws and whatnot. But for me, as someone who studies these topics, it was about the people on the show and not so much Alex. It's like he's bringing in Colonel Don de Grand Prix or Hutton Gibson, or there was all these interviews back in the day, like 20 years ago, back in the day. And then I noticed like there was a revolving guest list. I was like, wait, we're not solving the problem. I thought we were going to the next thing we find out, and we're going to discover and get the globalists. And I was like, oh, it's kind of revolving. I'm like, okay, so I understand that it's radio and production and advertisers and all that sort of stuff, right? So like as you gain an understanding of the industry in which people work in, you get a more realistic picture of like what they're about, right? Um, but yeah, there's been times lately where it's like, bro, didn't you make Police State 2 and like 3 and all the movies like we all used to watch back in the day? Like that's going on now, and it's like now you might some of the arguments lately. I don't know if it's like overly political
No.
or it was just a
Yeah.
judgment of the billions or trillions of dollars against them, but some of that famous resilience seems to have like you know, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Any
the tide
professional
ebbs and
sports player
flows.
later in their years, right? It's like Michael Jordan coming back from like retirement or something. Like he's still Michael Jordan. He just doesn't play like Michael Jordan used to play. And so,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
what happened with Alex, first of all, and take everything I say with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion. So I
yeah,
don't
me
have like
too,
an agenda
everybody.
here. The
Yeah,
the only bias that I have is that I know him personally, so I personally care about him in a way that maybe people that don't know him very well do. So you can take that into consideration. But I would say with as much certainty as one can be certain about anything. I'm of the Socratic kind of school of thought that you don't really know anything. You can just have extreme degrees of confidence. I'm as certain as one can possibly be that Alex Jones hasn't sold out or anything like that. I think what happened was, um, after got this $1.2 billion judgment against him, his entire life's work is constantly like 30 days away from being totally taken from him. And everything that he's doing legally is just to buy time, but it is inevitable that he's going to die of this cancer. In terms of the Infowars brand, he won't die. His voice will always be out there. And I think that has had an impact on his perspective. So you know, if you watch Alex Jones from 2016, he's like doing like the epic rants about the frogs being gay and the hilarious shit. And like, you know, he's throwing his fists and he's right about everything. He's still got all that, but there's a solemnness with Alex that there didn't necessarily used to be. You know, he was always sincere and it was serious work, but like he's crossed the threshold of where it just isn't fucking fun and games anymore, you know? And I know, you know, with the Trump stuff and what's going on now, a lot of people are critical of Alex, but he's not owned by Israel. He's not owned by Mossad. He hasn't sold out. I think that he's just dealing with or coping with the fact that this is the first time in his career. And I can't speak for him. This is the first time in his career that he'd ever gone all in on a politician. I mean, he went fucking all in. We all did. And by we all, I mean everybody at Infowars. We all went all in on Trump. And now it's like when Trump does something right, it's like, hurrah, we're right. And when he does something wrong, we're like, fuck. You know? And so I think he's in this like weird point where he's like, dude, I fucking told everybody for 8 years to support Trump relentlessly. Now Trump, like whenever he fails, it makes me look like a dumbass. And I think that he's wrestling with that. I haven't talked to him about it. I can't speak for him, but I think that's what people are like are seeing now. And I think it's just a phase. I think he's going to get through it. And I honestly do think that his best days are yet to come as long as he stays sharp. But yeah,
Well,
I
he's
know what you
being
mean.
vindicated every day with the news, right?
Yeah.
Like the Epstein files make, you know, and it's a
Yeah,
shame
the
that
Epstein
they,
files are like Alex Jones is the enemy, right? Of
yeah,
us.
well, it's like Alex Jones and David Icke were right. And it's a shame that
Yeah.
those guys occasionally have been beefing or whatever. I heard Alex is like,
Well, David Icke's been kind of an asshole ever since he got kicked out of Pink Floyd.
And
Scott.
okay. So did you ever do any skits with Harrison? Now that I judge your sense of humor, I'm like,
I never did a skit
no,
with him,
you weren't in
but
any of his skits because he's funny as shit, dude.
he is funny as shit. He's so talented. He's one of my close friends. But I don't think I ever did any like post production content with him. Spent a lot of time on air with him though.
Um, all right. So as far as the Alex situation, I would concur with your perspective. It's not like he's been bought off. It's just like I was disappointed when they had Infowars up for auction and they claimed that the Onion was going to buy it, right?
I
And
know.
there was like a
I was
three and a half
there.
million dollar. Okay, so a $3.5 million deal or whatever they were cooking up, and they were going to take it from the families or whatever their deal was, right? And then there was an Infowars offer that wasn't even they didn't even consider it. And then there was no, to my knowledge, Elon Musk, Bitcoin billionaire, libertarians putting their money where their mouth is and saying, you know what, let's just keep Infowars like from being bought by the fucking Onion, right? And all that sort of stuff. It just seemed like the left, I hate to like speak in politics in terms of right left, but that's basically it. It's right left and people whose freedom is talked about that aren't even paying attention, right? Um,
Yeah.
the left is very good at fundraising and doing all these things and like coming to aid and fun, like all that sort of stuff. And then when that whole thing happened with Infowars and they were like, they're sending them to a damages trial, having decided he was guilty without even like, and confusing the public about the whole, like, it was just a big PR move to crush him. And he had built up lots of like grievances with the globalists and they took their opportunity. It started with the Megyn Kelly thing. If you know,
Yep.
if people weren't paying
100%.
attention, this
But
the
his reach is
siren,
larger than ever. His reach right now
yeah,
is larger than ever.
yeah,
I mean, I at one point in time, no longer is this the case, but at one point in time, I was in his Twitter account because when he posts something on Twitter, if it's spelled correctly, it means he had his crew do it. And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
and so he, you know, he'd be like, "Hey, put out this headline, take this segment." And so I would look at the analytics on his Twitter account. I mean, he's reaching like 1 billion people a year, 1 billion impressions a year at least.
yeah.
And so,
He
like,
doesn't need,
yeah, sheer numbers wise, I mean, he's as powerful, if not more powerful than ever before. So, you know, it's just like with Star Wars, you know, the tighter you squeeze your fingers, Lord Vader, the, you know, more star systems slip between your fingers or something like that. I'm butchering the quote. That's what's happened with Alex. The more that he was attacked by the world supervillains, the more respect that he gained. And then that attention catalyzed this realization that he's been vindicated for 20 years of all the stuff that he said that sounded so loony, ended up being fucking correct, you know?
and the things that they have the power to take away aren't the things worth keeping anyway.
They can take
Right?
everything from
Render
him
unto
except for his
Caesar.
audience.
Yeah, render under Caesar. Like they can take his studio, they can take his house and his armored vehicle or whatever the fuck else, but he still has an opinion and he's got all those decades of experience looking into these topics, and he can, you know, 1776 will commence again anybody who sits on a stage with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Piers Morgan couldn't handle hold a candle back then. He still can't these days. He's wishy-washy. But all right, so let's get into your career. Once upon a time, back when you were doing marketing and things like this, you were talking about being in studios. So where did you get any type of studio experience early in life? Were you AV club in high school? Where did you start to pick up these things that aren't usually on people's path to not greatness?
I studied audio engineering at Belmont University. I actually have my bachelor's degree in audio engineering. So when I went to college, I thought I wanted to produce records with musicians and decided I didn't want to do that. And then got into marketing just to make ends meet. And it was inadvertent that the AV background came in handy for me when I wanted to launch my own podcast. And then, of course, working at the Infowars studio, I think everything that they do is certainly state of the art. The crew is just impeccably talented. I learned so much about lighting, setting up cameras, how to go live on streams, the digital streaming versus broadcasting. And I've just kind of weaponized everything that I've learned in order to make content for myself. So that's honestly my background is in audio engineering, and just messing around with musicians, I was able to figure out how to put cameras together in a way that was effective.
All right, that's pretty strong because um, the way I look at it, audio is 70% of any type of video cinematic experience. I could put a black frame on screen.
Well, for Ray Charles, it's 100%.
Yeah, if the audio is clear, people will keep tuning into your video. But if the video is clear and your audio's snappy, they don't want anything to do with it. So my question is, have you encapsulated your experience into like a course to teach others independent production the way that you've learned it? Because since you have such a strong audio background, and that being the strong foundation, and then you taught yourself like lighting and cameras and network and how to get the video into the computer and out to the stream and these sort of things, right? That's valuable content these days in the marketplace. Have you commodified it yet?
No, I haven't. And I think the main reason I haven't done that, dude, is because
Too busy.
I, well, yeah, I'm too busy. But second of all, you can already learn how to do that shit on YouTube. So, like, I guess I could make a course and my audience would be more likely to see it. But you can go on YouTube and be like, hey, what's a Roadcaster and how do I hook it up to an ATEM? And should I get an SM7 or an RE20? And you know what I mean? Like, all that information's already out there. So if somebody's savvy, they can figure it out. But
The people that you just talked about, they're not your audience most likely, but they would tune in to
yeah.
hear what you would recommend in those situations because they know what all those numbers and letters mean,
All right.
right?
Well, get a
As do
Roadcaster Pro
I.
2 and an A10 Mini Pro, and get a a Sony 6700 and a fucking SM7, and you're off to the races, bro.
There you go. That's the short answer for everybody. There you go.
And then if you have a question, grok it. Don't chat GPT it, because Sam Altman will tell you to do something gay because he himself is gay and he wants your content to be gayer than he is so that he comes off less gay, so that he can take over your mind with the hive mind that he's generating through OpenAI, so that the whole entire world can be brainwashed in a psychological operation by artificial intelligence coordinated by the state in conglomeration with all corporations in order to seize all political power in the New World Order government.
Reach. There you go. Clip that. Clip Genie that somebody did.
So once you got so audio for records and production of content, that was a specialty. You took all these years of interest, you poured it into understanding that, and then you found that wasn't paying the bills. How did you get into marketing, advertising? Did you work for somebody? Did you watch it on YouTube? What was your thing?
Yeah. My first job out of college, I worked for a guy that owned 60 Sprint mobile stores. Before Sprint Mobile was acquired by T-Mobile. Do you remember Sprint? It was the shitty
I
one. It
do.
was the Spirit Airlines of phone providers, right? And I worked in the corporate office, and it was right when Facebook ads were becoming all the rage. And basically, he said, Chase, you're a smart guy. I want you to figure out how to run Facebook ads to generate leads for the stores, so that the stores can call all the leads and get them to switch from Verizon to Sprint. So I learned how to do Facebook ads that way within the first 2 years after I graduated from college. And then what happened was I started taking clients in the evening, offering the same services. And then I got to the point where my clients were paying me more from 5 to 9 p.m. than my job was from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I quit my job. And that's how I got into social media marketing for 5 years full time for myself.
Did you work with individuals or companies or into like
Both.
solopreneurs?
Both.
Okay, so both. You had a spectrum.
Yeah. I believe it or not, I actually generated almost all of my income from Fiverr, based in Tel Aviv. And 1 year, I think my Fiverr profiles made over $500,000. I don't use it anymore, but I was like one of the top 1% Facebook experts
So
on Fiverr, and
what was your offer? Do you
I
remember
would
like
set
some
up,
of
I
the
would say, yeah, I'd set up a basic ad campaign for $350, or I'd set up a premium one for $1,000. And there was like a Goldilocks one that was $500. And so I made all my money $500 at a time. So in the morning, I would work on one campaign for one client and in South Africa. And then in the afternoon, I'd work on a campaign for another client in Ireland. And then the next day, it would be a, life insurance salesman in Des Moines. And then that afternoon, it would be like a mechanic that wanted more leads for his shop in Idaho. I would just, I had this process where you'd buy my gig, and then I would integrate with your Facebook ads manager, and then get on a call with you for 30 minutes, ask you what you wanted. Then I would just execute. And I got really fast. And so I was churning out, I can't remember how many gigs I've done, but it's like thousands, hundreds of thousands of gigs like that. That was what I did for years.
Sick,
do
dude.
you what's the cost spectrum? If someone had a product or service and it's $50, $500, 5,000, 50,000, like where's the sweet spot where their product doesn't cost enough for them to be able to afford marketing? Do you
Yeah,
know like that
that's
low
a good
point?
question. Yeah, so typically speaking, and this is a very kind of crass generalization, but consumers don't typically spend more than about 75 or $80 um, straight from an ad. So if we're running like a conversion campaign and your product or your service is worth more than $75, the chance of a profitable campaign goes down. It's possible to do it if it's like a national brand, like if you're trying to sell Xboxes or something, it's going to work more likely because there's been these national campaigns. There's been Super Bowl ads for the brand. People are familiar with this, so there's that trust. But if it's a product or a service that's worth more than that, then you want to switch to a lead generation campaign. So, like for example, if I'm working with a realtor, they're trying to sell a $250,000 house. They're not going to just get under contract with the house from the ad. It's a lead generation campaign, and then the realtor follows up and nurtures that relationship in order to convert them. So I found that I was able to get like a 5-to-1 ROAS for clients that had a product in the $50 to $75 range. I was able to convert, for $5 to $10 for most clients in that
Return on
space. If the
advertising
business,
spend,
yeah,
ROAS?
return on ad spend. Yep, yep.
Because
But if
my
they,
audience
but
only knows Sabri Subi saying ROAS, and I don't think he ever explains it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Return on ad spend. But my specialty was primarily in lead generation. So people that sold premium products, whether it was like saunas or cold tubs or whatever, that was my specialty. So I could generate leads like crazy for people that sold. One of my most successful clients, for example, was a company that sold souped up G wagons. And so I would get these leads for them. And sometimes the leads would cost $50, but they would buy a fucking G Wagon for $125,000, So it was a no brainer. But I also, just full disclosure, I ran a lot of campaigns where my clients didn't make any money. So if my client, like during the pandemic, for example, everybody and their mother wanted to start an e-commerce business, and they thought drop shipping was going to be the key. So everybody was trying to sell t-shirts and like bullshit
Amazon drop shipping,
appliances.
yeah.
Yeah. And so like if your business wasn't profitable and you hired me, the chances that I was going to be able to make it work were like slim. But if you were already profitable, you had a proven concept that was working, and there was like clear product market fit and demand, then I could just scale it for you. So um, I always tried to kind of like sift through, and I wouldn't work with everybody. I got to the point where I'd be like, I'm not going to take on this client because you're
Because you
trying to
could tell
sell
their
these
offer
stupid,
sucked.
yeah, you're trying to sell hairbrushes for
And that's what
$18 and your margin's
determines
already
like
only $3, and I'm not going to be able to convert for this hairbrush for less than 50 cents a conversion. But if you're selling G wagons for $125,000 and you need 10 closes this month, let's drop $5,000 on ad spend, and you're going to make 120 grand in profit.
Yep.
no,
What's up,
I
dude?
had no plan to talk with Chase about that,
Yeah.
to be
But
able
I did take
to.
that when I went to work for Alex. A lot of that marketing background actually helped because I put together the deal between Alex and Bigley, Bigley runs the Alex Jones
Which is
store.
a great deal. I bought a bunch as
Yeah.
soon as they came out, and like the apparel, the quality of that apparel is kick ass, dude. Those are the best quality, like heavy duty
Yep.
sweatshirts, and I love hoodies in the
Yep.
winter, man. Because
Then
I'm
I
old and
designed
my
a lot
neck
of the
gets
silver
cold.
rounds. I designed a lot of the silver rounds that we put out, and a lot of the challenge coins, and many of the supplements like Atomic Defense and MK Ultra, which was just magnesium and vitamin K. We called it MK Ultra. A lot of that branding was kind of from my background.
Well, it was the red pill and then the blue pill. I was waiting for the purple pill because he came out with methylene red after he came out with methylene
I
blue.
invented methylene
I
red,
was gonna
brother.
say, who came
There
up with
you
the
go, there you
methylene
go.
red, dude?
There you go.
I had some of that shit.
I have methylenered.com, motherfucker. Go to methylenered.com
Methylene
right now.
purple.
Be the reason Alex Jones will always be on the air.
Well, I think it's fortuitous that someone with your marketing acumen landed at Infowars at a time when they were in real struggle, and not a lot of people there knew how to do the things that actually move the needle as far as bringing in revenue for a place that's fighting for its life, right?
Well, the
And what you
problem
were
was
just
like the people that were in charge of Infowars from the state, because it came under state control, they wouldn't allow us to buy any more inventory for the store. So we'd sell out of a popular product, whether it was fish oil or fucking Ultimate Brain Force or something like that. And they'd be like, "Oh, you can't order 10,000 more units." They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's a bestseller. We have to order more units in order to keep the lights on." They don't want us to keep the lights on. So that's why I partnered with Bigley, because Bigley could buy as much inventory as they wanted. They're not under the control of the state. We would just push the fuck out of that. And we made a lot of money doing that, and it kept us on the air.
and then Bigley has built new studios, right?
Bigley,
Allegedly?
I haven't built any studios, but the studios that Alex is working on is Plan B. He's partnered with a guy who I'm not going to name. I don't think he's named him on air. Maybe he has, but I'm just going to be
Yeah,
careful.
let's not dox
But
anybody on this show. We
he's
don't need
partnered with
that
a
type of
really
coverage.
a really good guy that he's known for a long time, who's building new studios for him in Austin. So when Infowars does inevitably close down, Alex Jones will still be on the air with the same crew from Austin, Texas, and the Alex Jones store will still be live.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, he just won't be able to use the Infowars logo.
As much fun as people have made of Infowars products over the years, like I bought a ton of them over the years, and I've never found
use 'em
anything
every
that was
day.
less than like super quality. It's better, like
Yep.
because of how he like just make it 3 times what the market gives people. Everything
yeah.
always seemed to be great, from the toothpaste through Brain Force, like all the stuff that he's had over the years. I should do.
Absolutely, dude. Methylene blue will light you up like a Christmas tree. Scott
I've
knows.
never
He
done
sees
the
me make it every
methylene
day.
blue. How do you don't get that out of your body?
It's the
It
second
stays.
best feeling in the world, bro. It's the second
It'll be-
best feeling in the world.
The autopsy slides. That's where they found that methylene blue back in the day. They're like, oh, look, it's all through the nervous system. You can't remove it. I don't know. I was waiting to see how it worked out for everyone else who turned into a Smurf.
I take it every
Yeah.
single day. My dick got 3 inches bigger, and I saved my marriage. Go to the alexjonestore.co right now.
Awesome.
See, we told him it was a free speech platform. He just used it there. It's quite a testimonial for the product.
Methylene blue saved my marriage.
Well, dude,
Look,
you were
I
behind
always-
a lot
I
of
always
the.
had-
You were behind so many of the ad campaigns there. You know, all the beat, like the break. What do they call them? The clips in between the breaks and all that stuff in the break.
Oh yeah, oh
like
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah. But
Like you just revolutionized the game out there. It's like I was
well,
telling you,
Alex, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I was telling you in person. It was like I saw when you jumped on the Infowars, when you jumped on Info, and it's like since I've got to know you, I know you and I like think and like act very similarly in the sense that we just like go, dude, and we just like grab onto it and we don't let go until like everything's drained out of it. You know what I mean? And it's like I saw when you joined the team, and I saw like a transformation in the overall thing, like the breaks and just everything, man. And I was like, I like knew sitting 2,000 miles away, I knew that it was you behind it, and I was like inspired by that. How like I saw you like tangibly change the whole operation in a good way. So that was really cool.
Thanks, man. That means a lot.
Yeah. So, but I can relate, man. I can relate.
So when did you open up this spot in Tennessee? What made you think that they needed studio space? They got Nashville.
Yeah, but everybody has a recording studio. Nobody has a good podcast studio. If you look at the podcast studios in Nashville, with the exception of Candace's personal podcast studio and the Daily Wire, and I'm talking about from a production standpoint, not from a content standpoint, both cases, they're really the only good studios. All the other ones are fake and gay. You know what I mean? It's just like dumbass plant, ugly ass mic stand, sounds like shit, looks like shit. And so I just wanted to create something that was badass with multiple cameras. People can see different angles. There's a little bit of a
Super
cinematic
sick.
touch, and
Dude,
provide the Infowars standard of production to the.
I know you gotta have that snappy second angle.
Yeah, there you go, right there. Drive it home.
There you go.
Yeah, and
I'm
the trick
making
is
this point for him. I just don't like facing this way because my screen's over here. So maybe I should just move my stuff.
You just keep facing the screen though. It gives you this.
I got a
like,
screen right behind this camera too.
But
Yeah.
yeah, if I switch cams, but I keep talking to the one cam, it's like
Oh
got that
yeah.
cinematic vibe where you just drive home the point and then you
I
switch
need to
back,
fade
you
it
know?
over though. You've got the fade. I had a straight cut when I did mine,
Yeah.
so I need to work
Yeah.
those fades in
Yep.
there and get that
Well, the brilliant
cinematic.
thing about Alex is there's lights on the cameras in Alex's studio.
Yeah,
And so
they
the
turn.
crew will
It's got
they'll
the
put the next cam in preview and he'll
what's
know that
the
they're about ready to cut to that cam. So when he drives a point, he'll intentionally switch and look at that camera and be like, and that's why you got to go to the alexjonesstore.com right now. And then he'll switch and he'll look, you know, he has the whole cadence down, dude. He's a master.
well, when I was there, it was like 2013. So he was still broadcasting out of that little tiny room, and they were building the big, the current Infowars set out there, right? So that was all being built, and I remember being in that little room. And I was
Like the
like, man,
hexagon.
it looks so big. Well, the little radio studio that he used from like
Yeah.
2000 up to
Yep.
2013 or whatever, because I think later that year they went into the one with all the screens, you know.
Yep.
But this was, and I was like, we're sitting in there at this like little area, and I was like, man, this is the place is so big, but he works in this little room all the time, and we before I met him, we were in the break room and he had just come out on break. So he comes out of that little room, ripping down the hall, and he's yelling. I was like, it's like being in a cave and
Yeah.
hearing a
Who's this guy
dinosaur
coming on?
outside.
Richard Grove.
Yeah,
I need a
yeah.
bio. I need a bio right
They're
now.
talking about you make sure we show the movie. And so we had a good screening and stuff like that over the week because we were on several times during that week. And it was a good time. And everyone that I met there was honorable and legit. These look like
Yeah.
real people who were really interested, carrying real sidearms, like real Americans, most of them, right?
Yeah.
And Josh worked there, Jakari worked there, David Knight worked there. There was a whole bunch of old timey people that worked there still. It was a
Rob
broad
Dew, I'm sure,
spectrum
was
of,
there.
yeah,
Darren
yeah, for
McBrain.
sure. When I first saw Rob, I was like, he's so much taller in person, right?
Oh,
So
he's
it's
a
like,
giant. Nephilim.
yeah. So when you meet people that you see on screens all the time and you think they're like taller in person, I get that a lot too, but I'm not as tall as Rob too. That's all,
Yeah.
you know.
Tucker was way
And
taller than I thought he was going to be too when I met him.
yeah, I would imagine he's like 6'2" or so.
He's taller than
Not that
that,
I
man. He's
noticed.
probably six
Not that I
five.
noticed him.
I'm
He's probably
6'2", and I felt
6'5".
that he was
All
tall.
right, so
Yeah.
Chase and I are the same height, so I don't have to worry about it now. I only notice people's height when there's some dude that's taller than me in the room. Like LD,
Yeah.
who used to be the producer on this show, he's like 6'5", dude. He's like a
We should
Viking.
kill him.
I remember when I first
Oh.
met him in person, like even way before I was involved with Grand Theft World. I was like, holy shit.
Scott, Cody, that's not Colby, but Cody
No,
that's
Cody.
streaming behind Colby. Cody's 6'7". And the first thing I said to him when I saw him
6'7".
walking across my lawn, it wasn't like, hey, dude, nice to meet you. I said to him, because I just couldn't stop myself. I was like, how tall are you? And I said the same thing to Ross Ulbricht because it struck me that he was taller than I thought he would be. And so I was like, damn, dude, you're tall. I was like, and then I'm thinking to myself, that's a funny first thing to say.
That's cool that you met Ross. What was that like?
Well, we're friends with his mom, and we were friends with her
Word to
for
your
many
mom,
years.
Ross.
Word to Lynn, we talked to her this week. Ross, we had been helping to free Ross for years, and I commissioned a couple things. I commissioned the song, and I commissioned the Free Ross logo that's in the Mr. Robot font. That was we used it to raise awareness. So anyway, when he did get liberated, he was at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and we were all up there. So word came that he was walking along the Silk Road, which is a path that cuts along the whole park. So Lynn wanted us to come over and meet him, and he was just taller in person than I thought he would be, right? So then I got the pictures, and it's like, oh, he's the same height as me. He's not even taller, right? So my perception of people's size is like, it's a place I need, I don't know, more accuracy or less sharing of that knowledge with the audience. All right, so at a certain point in your career, you're out there marketing, it becomes a grind, and then you end up on the Infowars. So you hosted a podcast. That was like the ligature between the normie world of let's get you those clicks and holy shit, there's people trying to destroy our freedom and end humanity forever. How do we balance this thing? So you start putting in some time on a podcast. Who was your first guest?
My first guest, oh my God, it was Ian Miles Cheong.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
that
the dude
guy?
from Twitter? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He always gets criticized for being Malaysian, you know? But he was my first guest. And some of my early ones were like Nikki Klein. Nikki Klein was in Battlestar Galactica. She was also in the Nexium sex cult that they made an HBO documentary on. Gosh, I think I did maybe 125 episodes or something, all sorts of different guests. Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Gavin McInnes are ones that come to mind. Laura Logan was a big guest. Harrison Smith from Infowars was on. And I know that I'm forgetting some big ones. Robbie Starbuck was somebody that I had on.
Don't
Fuck, I
worry.
had
Anyone
Dave
you
Rubin on.
forget, they're not watching this show.
Yeah, I had Dave Rubin on at one point. But I started out kind of neoconservative, you know, just like a normie conservative. And then as I had more and more conversations, I got more and more hardcore and then
So
became
were
full
you like a
fledged.
Mark Levin neoconservative? Like, where was your camp?
Yeah, if you would have asked me like in 2021 if I wanted to have Mark Levin on, I would have loved to have had him on and I wouldn't have criticized anything that he said.
And
100%. Yeah.
today,
Oh,
what
fuck
about
Mark Levin. He's a fag. He's all forehead, no foreskin, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Because like you got to start somewhere, man. It's like learning guitar or learning calculus or any other skill, learning audio engineering, any other skill. You start somewhere, and then it's inevitable that wherever you start, you're a dumbass, right? And then as you do it, you learn what's really going on, and then you can play jazz, you know. And so, yeah, it took me like 4 years to kind of realize how screwed up everything was. And the first thing I noticed, like when I noticed that I was, graduating from like, I don't know, apprentice to masterclass political thinker. And I don't mean to sound arrogant saying that, but what I noticed was like when I would go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and for my entire life at Thanksgiving or Christmas, like we'd all just be like pat each other on the back, agreeing on everything. Conservative family, taxes are way too fucking high, private property rights, like normal stuff the conservatives believe. I still believe those things. They'd be like, oh man, well, BB's doing so good for Israel. I'd be like, whoa, or or you're like, oh, this COVID thing is really terrible, isn't it? I'd be like, terrible how? Like, oh, a lot of people are gonna die. I'd be like, like, so like that's when you start to realize that you're graduating from neocon is like when the people that you always agreed with. Like I had an argument, dude, this week. I went to a bar downtown, the Eighth Room, owned by this awesome guy named Hollis. He's a producer from Los Angeles, and he moved here from LA because of what happened with COVID, and he's just awesome. And I was talking to this guy about Israel, and he's like just a major Zionist conservative guy, He's like, I'm just so disappointed in what Tucker's saying and what Candace is saying, He's a nice guy, so I wasn't gonna like give him shit. But I was like, dude, I can't wait to talk to you in 12 months. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, because in 12 months, if you keep going the direction you're going, you're gonna fucking hate Israel. like, it's like, and it's like if you see somebody who just learned how to play Smoke on the Water on guitar, it's like, dude, I can't wait to see you in 12 months. You're going to be playing Sweet Child of Mine, and I can't wait to see you 12 months after that, and you're going to be playing Eruption by Van Halen, and I can't wait to see you 12 months. You know what I mean? It's like you can see the different ideas that people graduate through when they have good intentions and they just want to know what the truth is. Like they're wrong all the way until they aren't. Just like a musician is, making mistakes all the way until they can play it perfectly.
But it doesn't affect the Mark Levins of the world.
Yeah, because he doesn't have good
They
intentions.
seem like they're tethered to a position, and they're not free
Tethered's
to
a
move.
nice way of putting sold out faggot.
They're not free to go where truth floats.
Fuck Mark Levin, man. His only power is that Donald Trump watches this show because nobody else fucking does.
That's it.
Do you think that Nick Fuentes name dropped Mark Levin during his Tucker interview to throw Mark Levin under a bus of some sort? Or do you think that Nick Fuentes really, really liked Mark Levin?
I think Nick Fuentes probably liked Mark Levin in the beginning, kind of like we were just saying.
I think he said that. I think he said he started like when he first started. He was Mark Levin and Bill O'Reilly.
He did, but he also said he liked Stalin and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes it's like
in the beginning, though,
if he were to call his enemy his source of inspiration,
yeah. Well, I'm somebody who's like deeply interested in Adolf Hitler. Not because I agree with Adolf Hitler, but because I understand the power of what he did. And I won't abandon the power of what he did just because of the things that he did that I think are heinous and evil, right? So, like, obviously, if you want to learn how to give a good speech, maybe read a Hitler speech. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you actually like endorse the policy of Adolf Hitler, silencing all political opposition and putting people into camps and shit. I'm not just talking about the Jews. I mean, that's one of the things that bothers me so much about the Holocaust is that it's like 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews. It's like, all right, well, let's just assume that the 6 million number is correct, just for the sake of argument. And let's also assume that the 11 million number is correct, right? That means that there were 6 million Jews that were killed in the Holocaust, plus 5 million people that weren't Jewish that were killed in the Holocaust for whatever reason. They were disabled, they were homosexuals, they were political dissidents, they were Freemasons, whatever, right?
Gypsies, yeah.
Gypsies, right? Right. It's like, why is it that we're only talking about the Jewish people that got killed in the Holocaust when it's something that happened to all sorts of other people too? It's not like a uniquely Jewish thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is a bad thing that happened to a lot of people. But
Marketing and advertising experience.
Yeah, and
The
obviously Hitler
gypsies
was a
aren't
bad
strong in
guy.
it.
He silenced freedom of speech. He got rid of usury in Germany, but he set it up so that the banks could loan the party, the Third Reich, the Nazi party, money on interest. And so, like, they invaded all these other countries in the name of nationalism. But there's nothing more anti-nationalist than invading every other country while like making your own country more vulnerable. And ultimately, his leadership resulted in the total collapse of Berlin and the subjugation of half of Berlin for half a century. And so, like, if we want to talk about like Hitler being bad, then let's talk about like all the shit Hitler did that was bad, not just zoom in on Schindler's List. And so I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is like a lot of people criticize Fuentes for his remarks about Stalin, but I understand where Fuentes is coming from. It's like, look, dude, if you want to learn how to rally a bunch of people around a cause, like Stalin's an example of somebody to look at. So is Mao. So is Hitler. So is Genghis Khan. So is Julius Caesar. Like, you got to study these people, and then you can study them and learn from them without necessarily endorsing anything that they said whatsoever. But nobody
No, for
wants to be more
sure.
like Mark Levin. He just sucks. He's a faggot.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the Mao, Stalin, Hitler angle, yeah, you might be able to learn something from their speeches, but you can learn a lot more from how, like, hey, David Rockefeller's funding of Mao, the creation
Yep.
and implementation of Joseph Yukashvili and changing his name to Joseph Steel, Man of Steel, right? Even Vladimir Lenin was supported by bankers to get his rise to power and had to change his name and all these sort of things. So there's just also like, I think that like Hitler's bad. I think the people who funded him and like did all the things to put it in place, like Auschwitz was built by as an industrial park by people in Skull and Bones, right? The Harriman family. Now they didn't intend it to be, what eventually was alleged to have gone on there. They just met it, hey, East meets West train tracks, industrial center. Easy to get, goods
Yeah.
on trains
Yeah.
there, right?
Work will
So,
set you free, baby.
or even their use of the swastika. In the early 1900s, member of the Cecil Rhodes Roundtable, Rudyard Kipling, he had swastikas on the spines of all his books, right?
It's a pretty shape.
It's a sun symbol. The 1916 U.S. women's hockey team had swastika on the sweater. You look it up. Anyone look it up on Google right now. Scott, will you look it up?
Yeah.
I might have got the year wrong. U.S. women's hockey team swastika sweater.
And
So
Scott,
this was
pull up another tab too and look up Auschwitz TripAdvisor and sort by worst reviews and read some
Or I
of
was
the
going to say, who
reviews.
did
They're
Trump
fucking
just
hysterical.
didn't Trump just hire somebody that had a swastika tattoo? They were making a big deal a couple weeks ago about it. I don't think he was
Did
wearing
hire
it as
somebody
a
from the
solar
Azov
symbol.
Battalion.
Yeah, is that what was going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got
My point is, it was used by Westerners, specifically British, who had conquered in India and taken that symbol as a prize of war and then branded their new project with it. Go ahead. What do you got?
well, we got the 1916 Edmonton, Alberta women's ice hockey team.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
there you go.
I
Yeah,
I got it wrong. I got it wrong.
Yeah.
I got
It
it
was the
wrong.
fucking Canadians, man. They love giving standing ovations to the Nazis.
Let it be corrected. I got the year right and I got the country wrong, which is surprising, but I did that.
Well, did you know that in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, there's a cemetery dedicated to Ukrainian SS officers who died in World War II, and it's got a giant iron cross with the Ukrainian trident in it. It's 45 minutes north of Philadelphia.
Have you ever read the book The Belarus Secret?
No.
Okay, so it's republished recently by Trine Books under America's Nazi Secret. But basically, uh, the United States and Britain brought a lot of Nazis back home afterwards. A lot of them
Well,
were from the
yeah, yeah.
Eastern European Reinhard Gehlen networks. And then they were given new identities in America and sequestered in little towns in like New Jersey, right next to like where victims that they tortured a couple towns. Like there's a whole lot of interesting intelligence work that they did that lingers on to
Yeah,
this day. And
I
then
mean,
they made
I haven't
movies
read
about
that
that.
book, but I'm familiar with paperclip. Everybody knows what happened
Yeah,
to paperclip.
yeah. Well, it was more. I think it was more prolific than the official story has told
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I was watching First Man last night, the Ryan Gosling movie about Neil Armstrong, and there's that
Oh,
famous first scene where he's doing like a space flight test. And I can't remember the name of the craft that he was in. Pardon my ignorance, but it was an early spacecraft where they'd have to fly it up on under a B-52, and at like 30,000 feet, it would launch and then go into orbit because they couldn't figure out how to get into orbit from the surface yet. And I was sitting with
I
somebody
think it
who
was the
was like,
X2.
man, the X2. That's right. That's right. It's like, man, a whole lot of Nazis had to make that possible. you know?
Yeah, dude. And what you see is prior to Nazi Germany, let's say the Anglo-American establishment had some goals, right? Like in 1929, before the Nazis rise to power, Edward Lee Loomis is trying to, these guys are trying to come up with a nuclear atomic bomb type thing, right? So you got
Yep.
people in the book
Heavy
is
water.
Tuxedo Park by Jeanette Conant. So they're trying to come up with atomic ideas, but they don't have like a casus belli to do the thing, right? They also need to find out how do humans react at 90,000 feet, right? So they used Nazi Germany and whatever you want to call Japan back then, right? Axis Japan to
Yeah.
run Unit 731 and various types of experiments, and then bring those things back to the United States. So like the Nazi they brought back was called Hubertus Strughold, and they brought him back to some place in Texas, and he helped to bring the U-2 program or whatever the flight suits so that they could do the
Hmm.
things, right? So there's a lot of American history in the 50s and 60s that was brought back to America because they they funded the Nazi project to do things and then went in and brought the things back, the results. MK Ultra comes from Nazi Germany, right? There's
Yep.
so I'm just saying there was a lot of things that the Anglo-American establishment couldn't do, and so they chose like they
What I
just
would
beat
do
up
for a
on
tube of
Germany.
Pervitin, man.
Yeah, there's they had just beat up on Nazi Germany in World War One, right? So it was an area that was depreciated and ready for the new world order to go in, set things up, and then build their new world order out of the ashes of that event. No pun
Yep.
intended. But Holocaust does mean sacrificial ritual sacrifice. It's a ritual sacrifice,
Yeah,
burning.
sounds like our current abortion
Yeah.
policy in the United States.
There might be. In the Epstein files, there might be some relation to
Oh,
such
yeah, dude.
things.
It's honestly, the Epstein files have been so sickening to me that it's like totally put out my fire. I'm like, I don't want to say that I'm black pilled because I think black pilled is such a foolish state of mind because it guarantees the end result if everybody adopts it. So I think it's toxic, but it's so disgusting. And there's such a small degree of accountability, basically nil in terms of accountability, that I'm
Well,
like,
they got
all
Prince
right,
Andrew, bro. Didn't you hear? They arrested
who
Prince
gives a
Andrew,
fuck? Who gives a
right?
fuck?
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
like,
That's the appropriate response right there.
I don't even think Epstein's dead, bro. Whip
Well,
pro.
why would you think he's dead?
Right.
Why would you think he's dead? Because the
Right.
people he
There's no
worked
evidence.
with told
I was
us
just gonna
that.
say,
Bill
what is the
Barr,
evidence? Yeah, what is the evidence that we have that he actually is dead? There is literally no evidence, and all the evidence is to the contrary, or any evidence that they presented
A
has been
picture of a fake body.
contraindicative of him being dead. So yeah, you're right. There is no evidence.
He's fucking alive, bro. I knew he was alive as soon as I saw Dan Bongino and Cash Patel say that he killed himself. Like, you guys have spent years saying that he didn't kill himself. We have to look into it. As soon as you get in, you get read in, you say that he's dead. It's like, obviously you were given intel that he was in Whip Pro, and that's why you flipped. Just my opinion, though.
The opportunity to be black pilled by Epstein would be a jumping to a conclusion that all the people are like that. Most people aren't like the people in the Epstein files. But what you're seeing is like there is a small percent who are highly degraded human beings out there acting and getting influence on people in positions of power who are supposed to be yours and mine representatives in this here government. So when you see an entire Congress, you vote unanimously to release the Epstein files, and those very same people are participating in the things in the Epstein files, it kind of told me that the only way that goes on is they're like, okay, we're going to release them, but we're going to release them in a slow roll. And we're only going to focus on, oh, look, Trump looks bad. He's
We're gonna
named
drop
20
aliens
million
in the
times,
middle of it.
right? We're going to drop aliens. We're going to do Iran war. And by the time they get to like who's actually redacting the redactions and get down to like what's behind all those black rectangles and who's actually the people they've been protecting the whole time, who are the pedophiles, then no, that won't be, that's like a footnote in history. But the Iran war and whatever else they're cooking up, cybernetic singularity bullshit. Yeah, I don't trust them too much. None.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say. I mean, when the IRS is coming after me for $135,000, bullshit amount of money. When the Infowars has been under a Type 3 FBI assessment since December 10th of 2013, meaning that the FBI can spy on everybody at Infowars. They can send in undercover agents. They can monitor financial transactions. They can follow people that work at Infowars in public places. And that's been going on for, gosh, 13 years now. Started within 90 days of James Comey becoming the director of the FBI, but we can't get any accountability whatsoever for the debauchery that occurred in the Epstein files. And look, I haven't studied the Epstein files honestly because I've been too scared to do the deep dive, and I don't want to inadvertently download something on my computer that I would inevitably be held accountable for. But just seeing the emails about little girls dressed up like Snow White, and the most disgusting one that I've seen yet, which is the little girl who said that she believed that Jesus Christ saved her life, and then they're joking about dressing up like Jesus right before they presumably molest this girl or abuse this girl or even murder this girl. I'm just like, at this point in time, I want all of these people lined up, and I want a firing squad. Like, the only solution is to drag these people through the streets on a rope and just take matters into our own hands. That's why, like, when I was working on Infowars, I was like, all right, this is our last lap of the mile run. This is our last chance to save the union, to save the United States of America. We'll get Trump in, we'll win the House, we'll win the Senate. And I busted my ass for 16 hours a day. I took copious amounts of Adderall to pull all-nighters to get it done. I mean, I was like a Nazi soldier invading Poland. I was not going to sleep. I was going to do everything I could do to win the war for my country. And you get all the power, and then you realize, holy shit, no matter what we do, no matter how good the people at the top are or what their intentions are, it's still so corrupt and so fucked up that it's irreversible. Now I'm at this point in time where I'm like, all right, well, let it fucking burn then. You know, Pam, what is the Pam Bondi? She came out and she said, if we actually held everybody accountable who was in the Epstein files, it would cripple, or it would break our system. Is that what she said? Something like that? It's like, well,
Yeah,
then
and that's the
burn
point.
it down.
Yes.
Burn it down. That's why we voted for you. I had Pam Bondi's phone number. I texted her. I said, resign. Bitch won't even text me back.
What she said right there is the same thing Catherine Austin Fitz said 25, 26 years ago. And Catherine's a much more trustworthy blonde, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
her words have been prophetic over the past 2 decades. Whereas Bondi, I mean, I think the best headline was like pedo Barbie. She's protecting. She's like a pedo Renfield. She's like Barbie Renfield. I don't know how you'd phrase it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pithy, but she's not doing anyone any favors by not administering the justice and adjudicating the matter.
She's
As a
just
top
following orders.
lawyer, top law enforcement officer in this country, joined by Cash Patel and co, like they're not doing a good job. And
God,
not
what a
that
fucking
anyone wanted to
disappointment.
vote for Kamala.
But at least Cash Patel has a country music sensation for a girlfriend. Our
Yes.
tax dollars can fly his fucking jet. I'm at the point right now. You remember when those Chinese balloons got shot down, and the news articles like, hey, it cost $400,000 of munitions to bring down those balloons. It was like 200 grand a balloon that cost to bring down, and each missile was 200 grand. I'm about ready to just like strap ham radios to a shit ton of balloons and just bankrupt the fucking military industrial complex. Just fly them up, have them shot down. It's just a ham radio on a balloon, bro. It's like every time the IRS sends me a letter, I'm just going to send up a fucking ham radio so I can get my fucking money back, at least like some semblance semblance of joy. I don't know. I'm trying not to be
That's
negative and black
great.
pill,
Hey,
Richard. I appreciate you guys. I love you, but I'm
dude,
just so pissed off. Like I'm ready for war, dude. Like real war. Like I want to graduate from the information war, and I don't want to like get you in trouble on this show, and I don't want to say anything fetty. But like I'm arriving at the point where like my thoughts are what somebody who's a Fed would say to try to entrap other people. Like, and maybe
Well,
that's the op. Maybe they've won. Maybe that's what they want me to get. They want me to become
well,
an extremist or a
that's what they
radical so they
want
can fucking,
people. Look,
yeah, yeah.
part of
But
it's
I'm
the
about ready to
frustration,
fucking give them
aggression.
exactly what they fucking want.
Frustration aggression complex, right? If they block your goal, you
Yeah.
get frustrated. Everyone who gets frustrated gets aggressive. But I would lay it like this: remind yourself that violence is the intellectual bankruptcy position, and
Cool. I'd rather be
in
retarded and fucking have justice.
well, in this situation, it will be retarded to attack at the strongest points where they want you to take violence up against your oppressor because they're obviously
Yeah.
prepared for that. Look at what they
Yep.
just did to Jack, the dude from Venezuela, right? They're out there
Yeah.
flexing military might. Well, one might think not the strong area. Maybe there's another area. Maybe the marketing and public perception angle, because it is a public opinion arena out there. And if people one day had an advertisement of some new documentary, or you know what I'm saying? The truth movement has had a marketing and advertising problem to communicate to the rest of the percentage of the population. And the
Yeah.
the technology is getting there. People are making
But
things that are very
all
compelling.
right,
I have a piece tonight.
everybody
Watch.
assume everybody knows the truth though. Assume
So
everybody's
here.
enlightened. We've won the info war. What the fuck are they going to do about it? You
You
know?
withdraw consent en masse without having to take any type of shots.
Has
Both
there ever been Richard, I know you're
lead,
brilliant. Has there
lead,
ever
lead
been a
or
time in
gene
history?
therapy.
Has there ever been a time in history where a government or a civilization has reached the level of corruption that the United States has reached that's been reversed peacefully?
Potentially, but it exists in the future. So we are at the real time high watermark
yeah,
currently.
I mean, honestly,
But
Yeah.
there's
I
never
think they're
been
just preparing to get more corrupt.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Well,
learning
I
that they have a goal and they're not going to deviate from that. So
well,
being
here's
able to, like, as they say, head one off at the pass allows more creativity and white pill optimism instead of like getting down to the same anti-human level of trying to destroy and like playing their game.
Yeah. Everybody's telling me to cool it. You're not the first one this week.
dude, you're good. I love it, dude. This is it's fascinating, because
Scott watched me do an interview where I was saying the same shit.
dude, you were on fire, man. It was so good. And you're not far off from how everybody's feeling. I mean, I feel the same way where it's like there is no solution to this politically. So I'm kind of more like I'm not gonna go fight anybody. I'm gonna go disconnect and go build my own business. That's where I'm at. I'm like in full blown entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's my solution because I can't fix the world. So I'm fixing what's around me. But I will say to what you said, that there has been instances where civil disobedience has had a big role in whatever over toppling allegedly the way the stories go, right? Civil disobedience has moved mountains in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Now,
We need to go into the Capitol.
yeah, exactly. But see, we live in a time now where the information and ability to coordinate across multiple platforms is viable to where we could maybe do some sort of mass civil disobedience. If everybody stopped paying taxes, everybody stopped going to work, it would have to be coordinated. We would have to stop this right-left paradigm breakdown. I talked about last week how I was driving over to Highway 24, and there's an overpass where all these like lefties always go protest week after week. It's always like, whatever the current thing is, they're always up there doing a banner hang on the overpass. Sometimes it's ICE, sometimes it's Ukraine or whatever, right? And then last week it was jail the Epstein pedos or something like that. I was like, whoa. So now we're on the side of like they're on our side now, dude. So it's like, bring us all together. And then, because the left all the time does these little civil disobedience things, like put up the black square on your profile pic and do all this stuff and like disconnect. And it's like, what if we all, I know your position is on aligning and partnering with the left, but I'm just saying, like, what if we all got together and like did some sort of mass civil disobedience? Like in a dream world, maybe that could be a solution that puts them on their knees, because we need to figure out a way to reverse the paradigm to where they answer to us. And I don't know if there's a way to do that, but that's my hope.
Well, then there's the
When
risk that once we take all the political power, we become the enemy.
Yeah.
no, if
Can
if
anybody
it's
really wield the
decentralized,
ring other than Sauron?
so essentially it's the apophatic instead of the collection of the power, it's the decentralization of it. Because when their words no longer hold authority over you, and you just like fuck them, they're just people, and people no longer listen en masse. That's a different dynamic that hasn't happened in a wide population in history. It's happened in limited circumstances. But today, with the internet and the way that marketing and social media and clever videos like what's at the end of tonight's episode. So in the wee hours of the morning, we will be premiering. I don't want to spoil it, but if you've seen it, you've seen it. And if you haven't, just wait till the end of the episode. Lucky Larry's Preposterous Plan. So we're juxtaposing in this episode Happy Howard Lutnick and Lucky Larry and their day off on 9/11. And I think it'll go a long way toward helping people have a realization that is a long time coming. So in these micro instances, these elements work. And it's just about getting to a topic that more people care about being not told the truth about. Then they withdraw their consent, their attention. That's the most valuable currency in the market. As a marketer, if we learned how to control our attention to the advantage of our own freedom, they would be somewhat powerless without having to use direct force and, might against you. Most people operate on assumptions. They assume the babies were taken from the incubator and they were thrown on the floor and we have to go to Kuwait right now. That was before you were born, possibly. Holy shit. I got to watch my references.
It's all right. I talk a lot about World War II, and that was way before I was born.
Oh, there you go. Good.
But it wasn't before Joe Biden was born. He was wiping his own ass when Hitler died.
He was born back in the days when they had a shortage of middle names, and he ended up with Robinette.
Yeah. He was born just like 4 years after the fucking air conditioning was invented for the automobile.
Hey, honestly, dude, do you kind of miss Joe Biden? Like, wasn't that a more innocent time where we could just make fun of Joe Biden?
No, dude. No, dude. No,
come on, man.
I miss Joe Biden.
I kind of miss that guy, dude.
I don't miss him at all, dude. What are you talking about? We should have voted for Kamala. Everything would be so much better.
It was just endless. Every day we were laughing our asses off at Biden, dude. It's like now it's like every day it's like, oh, fuck, bro. At least back then we could be like, ah.
Well, you laugh at Biden, you cringe at Trump.
Yeah.
Every administration for the past 25 years has been like watching the fucking Three Stooges without them having a sense of their own irony.
I still like him. It's just, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. So much better than the other presidents, but still sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not too far away from, he worked with the Rothschilds too. So did Epstein. That could have been how they got introduced back in the day.
Do you have a checking account? You fucking work with the Rothschilds.
No, but my point, credit union, bro, credit union.
Okay.
Trump got bailed out by Wilbur Ross in 1991 from Rothschild Inc. of North America. And then he made Wilbur Ross the Commerce Secretary. So just as Epstein and Wexner affirm the Rothschild connection in that, Trump's right there in there. And he ran with those circles. So did he diddle kids? I don't think so. I don't think he drinks. I don't think he would really do those things because they have to try so hard to malign him with those things. But I'm not going to stick up for him because I don't know the man and I don't really identify with a lot of the same needs that he brings to the table. For instance, there's no gold in my studio and, I don't have a private plane with my name on it. So
not yet.
Here's what I would notice. Epstein visited Bill Clinton's White House 26 times or whatever the number is. He visited the Trump White House 0 times.
Yep.
2016 and 2019. He gets arrested during Trump's administration, or I'm sorry, arrested and dies during Trump's administration. And the Epstein emails that actually talk about Trump are them trying to get dirt on Trump. He's the dog that hasn't barked. Oh, you mean when someone's on the property and there's a burglar, like something's going on. He's seen something going on and he hasn't barked about it yet. It's not a compliment. It's like he could go off at any minute. He's not on the team.
He was a liability.
That's how I read it because they're trying to get an angle on it. And it's a whole bunch of people angling on that one guy. And it's like, if he's involved,
or if there was a real Epstein angle, all this shit would have come out 4 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah. So while I'm not thinking he was too far from it, they focus on, if you watch The Daily Show, you would think it's only Trump and the Epstein emails. And that is whitewashing.
Is The Daily Show still fucking on?
It is a thing. It is a thing.
With Trevor Noah?
No, with Jon Stewart. They bring him back like once a week. Yes, because he's really good at mesmerizing the audience and making them laugh as they show them horrific things.
What audience?
the Orange Man bad audience, dude. There's still a lot of Daily Show. I mean, it's called TDS, The Daily Show, because it's Trump derangement syndrome. So
Oh
you can
my
see the
God.
angle. You have to watch both sides of the media to see who's framing whose arguments, and you have to watch. Yeah, it's, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying. Seems
Yeah, but I just don't think
watchable.
anybody watches that shit anymore.
Yeah, when we try to watch clips, they ban us off the YouTube, and
Yeah,
we
we
have to
get
create more
YouTube
pirate
strikes anytime
channels.
we play a clip of
We have to
that.
get more but we do it anyway because we don't give a fuck. We're not here to please the YouTube gods.
Rachel Maddow would not. Would you rather bang Rachel Maddow or Brad Pitt?
Not answering. Neither. Neither. How about
You gotta
no?
choose one.
The
A
word
really good
no is
looking man or a
underused.
lesbian looking woman, bro.
The word no is underused in our culture. I choose to invoke. I'm not even gonna say no thank you. I'm just no.
Is it Rachel Maddow in a Motel 6 or Brad Pitt in the Four Seasons?
La la la. Can't hear you, Chase. You're breaking up. Can't hear you, bro.
Come on, Rachel Maddow, dude.
She's a
Scott,
Rhodes Scholar.
Dude.
Scott, did you ever pull up TripAdvisor for Auschwitz?
Oh
Sort
no, I
by
gotta do that.
lowest reviews?
I gotta do that. Give me one night with Rachel Maddow. I'll bring her back to our side. Tell you what.
She pops out the next day looking like Sydney Sweeney with dark hair.
That's a bunch
Scott
of
make
AI
her a whole new
nonsense.
woman. Fucking
That's
Aretha
what I'm
Franklin's
saying,
playing in the
dude.
background.
You guys thought Scott had aggressive goals.
Like
Okay,
a
hold on.
natural woman.
Hey, TripAdvisor, Auschwitz-Birkenau. Okay.
Yeah, sort by
Hold on,
one-star
let me pull it up.
reviews.
Let me pull it up. Let me pull
Yeah,
this up.
yeah.
You have to make sure you don't time it at the same time they're taking Israeli school kids there to traumatize
Oh my
them.
God, that they have one-star
Sort by
reviews.
one stars. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, how do I do
What's
this?
the first one?
How do
I don't know.
How do I sort 5-star? Terrible. Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah,
star reviews apply. Okay.
yeah,
Viator
yeah.
scam. Booked a tour with them, free cancellation. 15 day before departure and paid the date. Are you
Keep scrolling. They're getting screwed. They're getting June on the deal. Hold on. The guide was terrible. The experience of visiting was very sad. The people
They wouldn't take you to the red building or the white building.
Yeah, it's like, please remove this. And they're coming on there saying, please remove this comment. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Please remove this comment. Scam company. Don't use them. Get your tickets.
Yeah.
Please remove the comment. You've never booked a tour with us and always guaranteed. Oh my God.
I think it's criminal that people counterfeit tickets to Auschwitz like that.
My favorite one is the one that's like, it wasn't as sad as I thought it was going to be.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find that. The experience of visiting was very sad that people could be so. Hold on. That wasn't it. The guide was very good informative, but the whole aspect of too many people was sad, turned into a money making scheme. Yep.
Oh my God, they're monetizing it.
Yep,
Turned into, as opposed to, was
already
built
was.
for.
Yeah.
Read the sign out front, kids. You're not even getting a tour of the actual place that they're claiming it to be. They built it as like a Disney World front.
They had to
for a
rebuild
place
it.
where atrocities happen in all sorts and varieties of unspecified manners. So it's not like nothing happened at Auschwitz. It's just like bad things happen, and they're like, hey, if we add a couple things to this, we can make it a lot worse. There's no need, in my opinion, to take already atrocious history and make it worse in order to make a plan to make everyone feel sorry for when you take Palestine. I'm sorry. Is that a thing that goes on out there? Oh, it's still going on out there? Oh. You could talk about this one thing, but you can't talk about this other thing. They've both been going on about the same time. The Nakba is only 2 years away from Auschwitz,
I just don't know. Why is it that you get in trouble for the swastika, but you don't get in trouble for the hammer and sickle when more people died between 1958 and 1962 during the Great Leap Forward than all of white supremacy combined from 1619 through present day?
Because all the Trotskyites
communism.
came here to convince us it was okay. And they were the internationalist Marxist communists that went to New York City and brought about the neocons like Mark Levin. Boom. I would normally credit the Scott Horton experience with that, but let me
Scott
see
Horton's the man.
Dude, I was gonna say there's like 10 different. I was looking at like a tour guide company. There's like 10 different tour
There you
guide
go.
companies that are doing.
Here's some
individual tours.
neoconservatism. There is a little history of the B'nai B'rith in the neoconservatism flavor that was brought down. You've got the Frankfurt School, which is also a purveyor
This is
of
some Jay
ideas.
Dyer shit right here.
I've known Jay for a long time. I was texting with him
He's
this week,
brilliant.
way
He's
back and
brilliant.
forth.
Yeah,
And
that's the history blueprint I was telling you about, Chase.
yeah, yeah. So all the things I've got, I don't have any of your work in here, Chase, but I do have many of my colleagues' works in here because, like, I'll watch a Truth Stream documentary on MK Ultra, The Minds of Men. And then I already had most of the information in here, but I connected over. So when people watch that, they can actually learn about all the names. And once you know about the names, you have more power in the situation because it's our use of words that helps us understand, as it were. But yeah, the neocon experience in the Frankfurt School have had deleterious effects on Americanism for a long time. And Mark Levin was just the latest flavor that I chose to pick on there because I punch up. Or he's
Yeah.
down, I guess. But
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of height, that guy's like, he's like Odd Job in 1960 or in the Nintendo 64. He's
well, it
just
makes
running
a lot
around
of
with a
sense.
little hat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
The little hat, the little height, all forehead. I got to go to bed, guys. I love you.
Chase,
Well, I was
love
about
you
to
too,
tap
brother.
you out. Yeah, I got your page up here. I want to make sure. Where else would you like people to check out aside from this snappy X profile?
Just follow me on X at Real Chase Geiser. I'll take it from there.
See, very simple, to the point. Shows he has marketing, advertising experience. Chase, have a great night. Get some sleep. Thanks for being here. And you did make some people laugh tonight, so that was good. Keep
Thanks for
working on
having me, man. I appreciate it anytime. I love you guys.
Right on, man. Peace. I've dealt with a variety of fears over the years by facilitating a growth mindset and an anti-fragile mentality. I've learned from mistakes that you haven't even conceived of yet. Now, I can't do it for you, but I can share the resources, the methods, the tools, and inspiration for you to learn how to do it for yourself. And it really is worth learning how to do for yourself because it's a lifelong beneficial skill. It's evergreen. It's never going to tarnish. You're always going to use this. If you're interested in learning more, I host a podcast every Sunday night. We analyze the week's news and help you have non-contradictory views you actually understand, but you've got to come along for the ride and process the news with us so you have that understanding. I also teach adults twice a year in a 12-week course called Autonomy that is aimed at resolving all the problems I just pointed out with the school system and the irrational fears and the replacement of the rites of passage and the methods you need to have a skeleton key in life and a Swiss Army knife so you can have the tools and the access to do whatever you need to do in this world to bring your goals, to bring your dreams and map them to a truthful reality. It is a simple process, but it is not for those who cling to their irrational fears. So I hope if we have lowered the barrier to entry today, if you see a future you that is more realistic and in detail and something you want to strive toward, I recommend you go to getautonomy.info. Check out the offer as far as what we do for people. I want you to know it applies to you. You can learn it. I can teach it. So I want to thank you all for your time and attention. Peace. Who's going to be first off the mute this morning?
I'm glad that I have this course now more than ever. Having a community of people to discuss how to be empowered and autonomous is really necessary and also therapeutic. I'm this much scared about the virus and a lot scared of what's coming down the pipe as a result.
All right, so first off, we're going to get you away from that fear and that stress that I'm sensing. And I want to get you into the practicality of exercising the conversations you're going to need to have.
Have you found that your skills aren't matching up with the challenges ahead? Here are 19 essential skills for success that school never taught you. Get your free copy by following the link below or visit getautonomy.info/19skills.